Hello. Hello, everyone. Um, so welcome to my July live. It is very bright, these lights. I'm gonna try to turn them down a little bit. Ooh, I just do not like the color that they are giving me. I don't know. I'm liking this background a little bit better. I just need to turn myself. So I broke out my lights for this and trying to get a little comfortable too. So I was hoping that would help, but I still feel like I just don't look great. I'm still playing around with my lights too and trying to figure all of this out. So, anyways, happy Friday evening. I hope you had a really good week. My week was kind of busy. Not too bad, but it's really hot. I'm in the south of the United States, and so it's like been 90 something, close to 100 degrees a few days. But I am drinking my orange vanilla seltzer water today. I put it in like these wine glasses because it makes me feel fancy. So, anyways, I need to maybe move this today. I am going to talk about a topic that I've wanted to talk about for a really, really long time. I really just wanted an excuse to do research on this because for a while, I would say since around the time that I was certified, was certified as a coach, which was 3 years ago, I have wanted to know like where does the Enneagram come from? Like, who came up with this whole thing? And so that's what we're going to do today. I'm not going to say anything more before I go through everything else. So the theme for today's live will be the Enneagram and religion. As a reminder, if you are enjoying any of my content, please consider clicking the button up top of my page. It takes you to buy me a coffee, and you can give $1, $2, $3, $4, $5. You can give $20 if you are just feeling so moved to do so. That would be a lot though. So one to $5, that would be cool. That'd be great. I would love that if you are enjoying this content. And I want to do what I always do for lives, which is to say something I am proud of myself for doing this past week. Again, this was taken from the Honest Enneagram by Sarah Jane Case. If you have not checked out her Instagram or her YouTube channel, please do. If you do enjoy the Enneagram, she is my inspiration for a lot of the things that I do and a lot of the things that I learn. And even I recently went to an Enneagram workshop, and I found it because of something she had done that was kind of like associated with that Enneagram, with that organization. Yeah, organization. So yes, so something that I am proud of myself for doing this past week. Let me see. I honestly did not even think about an answer before I came here. You know what? I will say I am proud of myself for being kind to a person who I work with, who is not my favorite person to work with, but this is the person who just drives me crazy. It's a long story that I will not tell, But yeah, I have a coworker, drives me insane. Do not enjoy working with this person. However, I was kind to this person, and even when I had a trusted friend, coworker friend, ask me how things were going with this person, um, I was still kind even behind this person's back. So I am proud of myself for doing that. If you have anything else that if you were proud of yourself for doing anything this past week, please put it in the comments because I would love to read about what you're proud of yourself for doing. Remember, it can be big and can be small. It doesn't really matter. And do you think being proud of yourself is it's a pretty important exercise for a lot of people. I think the whole inspiration behind it from Sarah Jane was that doing a gratitude journal can get a little stuffy and it can sometimes feel like I'm grateful for air. I'm grateful for like you just kind of feel like you like have to say certain things. Whereas saying something that you're proud of yourself for makes you grateful for yourself. And she put this as a practice for type fours, which is me. So I like that practice. I think it's cool, but I think it can go for anyone or any type. So let's go on with this live. So I do have a script that I'm kind of reading from. I'm kind of using it like cue cards a little bit. Like I'm not reading from it, but like I have it there for myself. And it's just so I don't forget things. Also, I do have some work that I've copy and pasted from some websites. I will put links. I will put all that fun stuff down below after this live. And excuse me, having like seltzer water just is, it's bubbly. So there have been two questions that I have asked myself in the past like 3 years. One is the Enneagram only a Christian tool? And where did the Enneagram come from? And I ask those questions because so many Christians seem interested in the Enneagram. However, I wanted to know, like, I know people who are not Christians who work with the Enneagram. I listened to a podcast by two women who I think are non Christians. I'm pretty sure. I don't think they've ever come out and said it in any episode that I've listened to, but I'm pretty sure they are. So I'm like, is this a Christian tool? Like, and then beyond that, where did the Enneagram come from in the first place? So I did some research, not as much as I wanted to, but I did some. And I just wanted to share that research with you guys. So let me pull up the traditional Enneagram. And then I have some questions that I would love people to answer in the comments. That would be really, really awesome. All right. The traditional Enneagram. Let me make sure I'm not going to, I don't want to read like a ton. Fourth way. Okay, I see. All right, so I found some research from the Enneagram Institute, and this is some of their information on the traditional Enneagram. Maybe by the end of this, you'll be able to define traditional better. I think it just has to do with like the Enneagram that we know of today in Western culture. So it says that the Enneagram of personality types is a modern synthesis of a number of ancient wisdom traditions, but the person who originally put the system together was Oscar Icazo. Icazo was he was a man who was born in Bolivia, raised in Peru, but then moved as an adult to Buenos Aires, Argentina, to learn from a school of inner work he had encountered. Don't know much about that school of inner work, but I kind of want to go ahead and highlight it. And maybe that's something I'll do another time. Research that. That'd be cool. Hopefully. So then, after going to the School of Inner Work, He journeyed in Asia and gathered other knowledge before returning to South America to begin putting together a systematic approach to all he had learned. Hmm. Um, so I'm skipping over a lot because it goes into some other things that I just didn't think were imperative to this live. Maybe another one, but not really this one. So the Enneagram symbol has some roots in antiquity. It can be traced back to the works of Pythagoras. Oh, and you know what? I'm going to skip over this part because we're going to do that in we're going to talk about the Enneagram symbol in a few minutes. So anyways, we're focusing on Akazo right now. So let's see. The Enneagram, the traditional Enneagram that we know of today, it only goes back to the 1960s because that's when Akazo had started, I guess, teaching these this systematic approach to all the wisdom teachings that he had learned. And I thought this was really cool. The philosophy behind the Enneagram contains components from mystical Judaism, Christianity, Islam, Taoism, Buddhism, and ancient Greek philosophy, particularly Socrates, Plato, and the Neo-Platonist, Platonist. I'm like Platonist, like I'm not really sure how they pronounce it. I know it's from Plato, but I'm struggling. Okay, I struggle with that one. So let me read. I do have a question for everyone, and I will answer the question too. My question is, because Ikazo drew on these ancient teachings from Judaism, Christianity, Islam, Taoism, Buddhism, and Greek philosophy, do you see any of these ancient teachings in the more modern teachings of the Enneagram? So, like, do you see any of those old teachings? Do you see them in the Enneagram that we know of today in Western culture? If so, please give us an example. So, while I give you guys a second to think, I will like to answer this question on my own. And I did think this one out, unlike the what I'm proud of myself for question. So I will take a sip of water. So my only spiritual reference is like Christianity, and I know very little about like Buddhism. I read like a book, like a brief overview of Buddhism, Buddhism when I was a teenager. So that's as much as I know. So I see how these like Buddhism and even Christianity inspired like our converging type. So if you don't know what this is, it's the idea that when you grow, you will eventually transform and take on the healthy traits of the type that you normally go to in stress. So, for example, I'm a type 4. In stress, I go to I look like an unhealthy type 2. So I kind of like serve for a thank you because I feel bad about myself. Like I might become really testy about things. However, if I do a lot of inner work and I start to grow, I will look like a healthy type 1. I'll be very organized, very principled. However, at some point, I will eventually, if I continue on that growth path, I will transform. That's kind of the best word I could think of. I'll transform into like a healthy 2. So a very like empathetic, kind, supportive, helpful, like living for other people kind of person. This reminds me, so that's my converging type, is like a healthy type 2. This reminds me of like the Buddhism idea of enlightenment. Like eventually you just kind of become kind of like almost like your true self a little bit. Not that I think that any type is your true self, to be honest. Um, but it kind of reminds me of enlightenment. Like you're growing and you're transforming and you're becoming this very an enlightened, a transformed human being. And it also reminds me of the Christian idea of having like the mind of Christ, which is kind of like a very kind yet righteous, forgiving and yet like fierce and like gentle and all the fruits of the spirit, like all those things and that are named in the Bible. So yeah, that's what they remind me of. So you can pause this video if you need to, and please share what how those inspirations, the Islam, Buddhism. I can't say it right. I don't know what my deal is. Judaism, Buddhism, Greek philosophy, how those remind you of the Enneagram that we see today. So now I would like to read a little bit about someone who came right after Oscar Icazo, and that is George Gurdjieff. I think that's how you say it. So George Gurdjieff, he was a philosopher, a mystic, a spiritual teacher, and composer. He taught that most humans do not possess a unified consciousness. And thus live their lives in a state of hypnotic waking sleep. It's in parentheses, waking sleep. But it is possible to awaken to a higher state of consciousness and achieve full human potential. Gurdjieff described a method attempting to do this, calling the discipline the work or the system. Interesting. Gurdjieff's method for awakening one's consciousness unites the methods of the fakir, monk, and yogi. And he even has a student named P.D. Auspensky who referred to this as like the fourth way. So let's see. Oh, and so let's read about this fourth way. So it was developed over several years when Gurdjieff traveled in the East, and it combines and harmonizes what he saw as three established traditional ways or schools. So these are like three ways, which is interesting. It's not very like Tao. I think that's Taoism that has like the way, or they talk about that, like you become a part of the way or something. But anyways, these ways or schools are first the body, second the emotions, and third the mind. And I think, and so let me make sure I'm not going to get ahead of myself. So anyways, so he's the one who did come up with the Enneagram symbol with the 9 points on it. And let me see. Interesting. So this is all it says on the Enneagram Institute. There have been many attempts to trace the origins of this version of the Enneagram. Some similarities to other figures have been found. They're talking about the 9-point figure. But it seems that Gurdjieff was the first person to make the Enneagram figure publicly known, and that only he knew its true source. And it says the citation is needed for that. I think this part's from Wikipedia, not the Enneagram Institute. So very interesting to know that he did think, it reminds me of the intelligence triads, like the head, the heart, and the body. So this is my question for everyone. Does Gurdjieff's 9-point symbol, the modern Enneagram symbol, remind you of any other symbols? Just wanted to know. Does it remind you of any other symbols? And if so, which ones? So I will give my answer. Gurdjieff's teachings do remind me of the head, body, and feeling triads we see in the Enneagram. And I can see how his goal in the fourth way is to combine and harmonize these three things because, in my opinion, the goal of the Enneagram is to understand our relationships to our heads, our minds, our hearts, our emotions, and our bodies. So, like the physical realm. So, I guess I say that because, I'm a part of like the feeling triad or the heart triad or the feeling, emotions triad. But the point of the Enneagram isn't just to say, like, oh, you're great with your emotions. Like, that's your gift. I think your gift can be anything you really want it to be and anything you work really hard for. Really we have that choice. I do believe that. And so I do believe when it comes to the Enneagram, like, yes, it's for self-awareness, but it's also for like growth and to help you understand your own relationship to your head or your mind or your thoughts, to your heart, your feelings or emotions, and to your body, to the physical realm that we are in, you know, unless it's, the Matrix or something. I like that movie, so yes, I will reference it. So, please answer that question. What does the idea of those three things does Gertie's teachings about the Enneagram, the fourth way, or the schools, do those remind you of anything with the modern Enneagram that we know of today? So thank you. Thank you for joining me this month. I will be back in August, the last Friday of August, to talk about something else. I'm not entirely sure yet. If you do have an idea, please put it in the chat, please, or the comments, whatever this is. Once I end the stream, I'm not sure, because I do want to know if you are interested in something, and I'm interested in it. It gives me a great excuse to look it up and check it out. So I will try to include all the links for you guys below so you can check things out yourself. And thank you for joining me. I will see you guys next month. And also, just a reminder, every Friday night at midnight, so it's technically like the Thursday night, midnight, and then it's Friday. At that point, midnight, right between Thursday and Friday, is when I have a new video coming out. So please check those out. I've gotten some really good feedback so far. So I would still love to get some feedback. Please be kind about it. I want help. I don't want to be shamed. There's no point in doing that because I'm probably not going to change anything. But if you do have a problem with something that I've done, please let me know in a kind way and just point it out because I'm not trying to be unkind. I am most likely totally unaware. And so there's no point in trying to be mean or to shame me for it or anyone on the internet, as a matter of fact. So, so just let me know, check out the videos, let me know in a kind of way if there's anything I can fix or change for next time. And thank you for joining me. I will see you guys in August.